지금 다운로드 받으세요.
Yeah, well, we are going to see ByuN here once again. I'm actually excited to see him in a TVT because he wrecked Rogue, yes.
Yeah.
But Rogue he's looking like the big loser in this group so far.
Yeah, he is.
Not that he's like a loser in terms of his personality. I'm saying like the guy who's looking like he's going to lose a lot of these games and go down here. So ByuN, he's going to have a bit of a harder time here against jjakji. Although jjakji didn't have the greatest game either in his TVT against Alive.
No, he didn't. He was like kind of messy on some of the drops. I thought early on he had some good defensive micro, but you know, I don't have a lot of faith in him right now, to be honest. And I want to so bad.
Yeah.
He was such an exciting player back in the day. He came out of a little-known team that was almost all Protoss players. Won a GSL almost out of nowhere with some fantastic play, but just hasn't shown up since.
And he's going to have to show up here against ByuN. We're going to jump into Dust Towers once again for this TVT. Here we are on Dust Towers again. Something, thankfully, I'm not going to have to say as often today compared to some other days, rather. Here's ByuN in the bottom left, and in the top right, it is jjakji in the blue.
Okie dokes. Now we kind of get to see what jjakji's TVT is really going to be made of. Maybe that was just like one failed game. We can give him that, but if he does not start to deliver here right away, got to kind of count him out. And I would almost feel, I feel like this group is taking shape more quickly than some of the other groups that we've seen.
Especially with Alive, I suppose in other groups we had one player that we thought was going to be the best, and actually just go 3-0 like Alive is doing. But that player is Deer. I still have confidence that he's going to get out of the group. And now that Alive is 3-0 with 2 away wins, it looks like he's going to get out of the group.
Yeah.
So it already looks like we have 2 clear players.
It seems that way.
Already, it's only game 6, but we're already sitting here like, well, unless Alive drops the ball like Trust did. Which is very, very possible. So
yeah,
don't. I mean, Trust still got out of the group. Don't get me wrong, but he went 5-0 and then he went 0-5. So he was forced to play a tiebreaker match, which he barely won against SOS. But
because SOS misclicked.
Yeah,
that was a brutal.
It was sad.
But you know, I mean, I'm happy for Trust there. But that was like Trust totally panicking. There's no other way to even describe it. Some of the strategies he chose did not even seem like really that great, but like that was him panicking and falling apart. That's something I don't think Alive will ever do. Like this guy he's won tournaments before.
That's true.
He's ranked very highly before. He's a pretty clutch player, to be honest. So I think that is, in fact, none of these players I really see choking.
What about Deer? Do you feel like he has any potential to choke here? Like, let's say he goes down 0-3. Do you think he can pull an SOS and come back? Because SOS went 1-4 in the first half, and then he came back to 5-5.
Yeah.
He went 4-1 in the second half. So do you feel like Deer can do that? Because I feel like at times he can, but at other times I'm like, no. No way.
I know, right? He is a little bit up and down. Like, there's times where it seems like he can't lose, and then times where he just can't win. But I feel like more recently he's been pretty beastly in Pro League this year. Top 4 in GSL. Yeah, I think he'll come out of this group, man. I think like he'll bounce back. I'm not really worried about him.
Well, that's good to hear. We'll see if he can actually make that work. As we have some differing builds here in this game. It looks like jjakji going for an extra second Rax. Going for a similar build, actually, to what ByuN did against Rogue. Actually looking almost exactly the same, where, you know, gets the one Rax with the reactor and then the other one with the stim quickly, and then just techs up to double starport, or rather one starport with double medevac. Oh boy, he gets in here.
All right, he does kill it before it gets that scout off, so that's...
No, I think he saw it.
Oh. You're right.
He saw the tech lab
Okay,
researching.
but he also saw 2 gases. That could have been a starport, or that could have been a barracks. Let's see what he thinks. ByuN actually started an eBay right after that, right? He's making a Cyclone. Like, the Cyclone doesn't really mean anything. If he puts up turrets in his mineral lines, that means he might have thought.
Well,
okay, he scans the check. He scans.
Okay. So now he gets the full picture. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, this looks like me from last game.
Because that's kind of funny. If you see the researching tech lab, it's like in 2 gases, you're like, well, I mean.
Super fast cloak research.
Yeah, it could be.
But
anyways, this is. He's scouted what's going on. That's definitely important for him. And I got to tell you, out of the way these two are playing, I like ByuN's better because he started his siege shanks up. He's getting some Vikings. And I feel like those are the 2 units that kind of dominate.
Yeah. Also, the second medevac here is late, so the timing is not perfect for jjakji. ByuN with the scan, he knows everything, so his defenses are going to be perfect. He shouldn't take any damage as long as he doesn't botch anything there. Already getting his tank in position in the main. He's delaying moving out that orbital. I feel like he's in control of this game right now.
Yeah. It all looks pretty good. But, you know, I want to see who is going to take the actual map presence. Like, I don't mean this drop specifically, but especially when tank evacs come out. Because that was like the one really funny thing I noticed when you guys were casting that amazing game of Young vs. Reality. They both gave each other so much respect. They weren't really out on the map. Whereas you see someone like TY, he's like, I don't care who you are. My tank evacs are next to your base the entire game, you know?
I'm finding damage somewhere. I'm aggressively getting a position here where, you know, as you were saying, probably Young in Reality just a bit more passive in the way that they want to take position on the map. So...
Right now, jjakji checks for that 3rd base with his Marines out of the medevacs, and now will try a drop. Nope, we have that Viking there, and a turret ring was being put up anyways.
It's just not happening, you know. He even commits to a scan, and already also committed to a Liberator, but there's already a Viking in position to shut this down, so...
Dude, this really hasn't done anything. ByuN is sewn up tight right now. Maybe jjakji can delay the speed of the 3rd base being taken, but... He's behind on upgrades. He's behind on siege shanks. He's behind on tech. He's got a later 3rd command center, although he's mining from it earlier, so that's good.
Yeah. Behind on Vikings, although he is ahead on medevacs. He's got 3 medevacs right now. Here comes the lift, and there's a lot of units, and he's just going to stim in, and getting caught out here is ByuN. He doesn't have stim yet.
He might be able to get this command center. That would be a huge move coming down, just completely targeting it. Nothing is here to repair.
Oh, and now he actually just switches to the Marines and then goes back to the orbital.
Wow, okay.
What a move. He loses a lot of Marines for it, but he takes out that 3rd orbital. He's got one back at home. And with that, I feel like jjakji now takes the lead.
Yeah, that was a really cool move. Like, that is the same time he unloaded there, and he was just waiting for he's like, okay, well, you have to take the 3rd. To pick that off right now, what a gigantic move. Like, that was... so well done by jjakji. I didn't think of that as like one of his courses of action, but of course, yeah, this build works out for him.
That was just a really cool, like, sense move, almost, I'd call it, as the Koreans would say, where it's just like, you just have the sense to stick around and wait for it. You know, you're not going to force the drop. You just wait for your moment, and he found it perfectly. ByuN played directly into jjakji's hands. And he even knew like that he would be slow moving down the tanks, because if there were a couple of tanks on the low ground, maybe he holds that there. But just not quite the case.
Yeah, it just nothing working out for him. You know, the thing is, for jjakji, it wasn't even a risk. He'd already done the build order. It's like, okay, I can just sit here. There's already turrets up everywhere, so I'm not going to do damage there. So ByuN kind of plays into his trap, and now jjakji has to be feeling like he's in quite good shape. He's actually catching up on those upgrades very quickly as well. And it looks good for him. Look at this. He's got the sensor towers up. This is cool, man. He's playing very well.
Yeah. But keep in mind, as you were talking about before, we really need to see this mid-game where we have the tank evacs going around and the Marines and the drops coming in here, and just see how they control the map against each other, because this is a very big map. It's just towers. It's ByuN's choice, too, so he's very comfortable in games like this, obviously. So
Yeah.
very curious to see if jjakji can play with ByuN here in the mid and late game.
Well, right now they're even. Like, ByuN had an advantage due to the quicker third command center and the fact that he didn't take damage until the command center died. But if you look at it right now, they have like the same army supply, the same amount of bases, their upgrades are neck and neck, the same SCV counts. So it's very close at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just going to normalize, you know. And Medevac does get picked off here. Nice move by ByuN. He's actually very active along the top left side of the map. Sometimes we see Terrans, they just hang back until they're ready to move out themselves, but I like that he's sending out this small force to pick off Medevacs that he knows could be coming, even though there were no Marines in it, that they were actually dropped out before that Medevac went down, but he's still finding some damage there.
Kind of a strong move coming up here from jjakji, moving forward with his entire army. He does have some units behind, I'm not sure exactly. It does drop those tanks. The tankbacks dropping off for ByuN as well, but jjakji in a tiny choke, just getting slaughtered.
Immediately slaughtered there. Everything just gets choked up. The Marines could not fight. They were stuck behind the tanks, and the tanks just get immediately focused down. Even though ByuN took a while, actually delayed dropping his own tanks out, it just didn't matter because the Marines of jjakji couldn't get on top of that army.
That was really sloppy to have the engagement right there. He had, like, he was past the halfway point in the map, so he had kind of map control, I guess, for this map, but really choosing a poor place to fight. And now ByuN, like, he can keep a contain up that's going to be very hard to break, and he might even try to finish the game.
He's just going for it. He drops in the tanks. He has a much bigger tank number, dropping out the Marines now. And jjakji just sitting back. He's got to drop out on the top left side, but once the reinforcements of ByuN come in here, I don't think he can hold.
No, this looks very good for ByuN. jjakji just has nothing left, man. He lost some siege tanks there. He has a group, I think it's maybe 2 medevacs and Marines out on the map right now, but losing his third base, like, he can't hope to do as much damage with those medevacs.
Yep. Stimming in now is jjakji once again on top of those tanks, but he can't. Here are those Marines you were talking about. Maybe he can find some damage here. No reinforcements for ByuN in position to deal with this.
Well, that's a lot of SCVs that he's killed so far, but jjakji getting siege up completely here with a much bigger army. He does pull his SCVs. He's trying to break through right now. A great spread of Marines for jjakji, but ByuN has so much.
He can't kill those tanks. He just can't get on top of that core tank line in the back. There's still 4 or 5 tanks alive. ByuN loses his third command center, but at the same time, jjakji has to float his away, and he's got a much smaller army at this point.
Yeah, this is not looking that great for jjakji. Sure, he gets that command center and a lot of SCVs, but how do you actually... Well, you know what? There's not that many units here right now. Until ByuN's reinforcements get up, he might be able to break it. He's got to go quick, though.
Now would be the time, and he's actually going to pull some SCVs.
I like it.
Here we go. He's going to take the fight. Very smart, and this forces ByuN back.
Okay, he does pick up everything, backs up into his rallied units, so jjakji looks like he will be able to stabilize this third base once again.
If he can take the ramp back, which it looks like he's trying to do, and he's actually got a nice core of tanks now. It's going to be pretty hard for ByuN to push in here just yet. Maybe ByuN goes for a massive drop into the main instead. Yeah,
he's definitely got a much better army, so if he gets into a decent position, he should be able to take it. In fact, his 3-3 is just about to finish. jjakji will have +3 attacks, so that's mostly the same, but still, definitely does make a difference. ByuN looking still like he should be able to take this.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see how he's going to finish this out, because sometimes the difference between better players and, you know, not as good players is that they don't know how to finish games. Like, guys like Bravo had some trouble finishing games for a while, but I feel like he's done a bit better in that aspect recently. But ByuN, I feel like, should be okay to finish this one out, especially throwing away another drop here is jjakji.
I think what you said, like a big drop, that might be a really good way, because we have a ton of medevacs for ByuN. So I'd like to see a move like that. I don't think that jjakji will be able to cost-efficiently clean it, but ByuN looks like he's trying to max out. It's a really great way to do it when you get a nice, like, economic advantage. Like he has, he's killed so many SCVs, he's kind of slowed down the mining of jjakji, he's killed a bunch of the units. Max out, man. That's a great way to finish it.
Yeah, it's the safe way, you know. You don't want to fly into a missile turret ring that, because jjakji saw it, you get just crushed. And here we go, dropping out all the tanks and the big stim up the ramp. That's going to be it.
Just way too much for ByuN there. jjakji even had good battle micro there. Did not matter one little bit. Does drop again. This is jjakji's thing, I guess, just kill command centers when you're behind.
GG. There you go. ByuN taking another game here, and jjakji dropping another one.
Ouch. So that was ByuN's home map.
Yeah, so no win for him there, but the wins are more important anyway. You want to get as many of those as possible, obviously. So
right now we have Alive in first place, ByuN in second place. In the last two places, jjakji and Rogueman both with 2 losses. Not looking that good.
Yeah, definitely looking like the 2 big losers out of the group. Alive and ByuN looking pretty good. Deer and Impact still in that middle spot. We're not really sure where they're at. They haven't played too many games. So we're going to have to wait and see. Guys, we're going to take another 5-minute break. We'll be right back with another game here.
한번 들어가니까 회복이 다 녹아버렸어요.
그렇죠.
네.
자, 그렇게 되면서 그 주도권이 완벽히 넘어갔고 변현우 선수가 좀 돌림 병력에 의해서 피해를 받는가 싶었는데 결국에는 경기를 가져갔습니다. 변현우 이렇게 되면 2승 0패 한희석과 함께 패배 없이 1라운드 기분 좋게 출발하고 있습니다.
네, 2승 0패면 뭐 아주 산뜻한 출발이죠.
그렇습니다. 자, 7번째 세트 전해드리기 전에 저희는 잠시 쉬었다가 다시 찾아뵙겠습니다.
Cause me pain, erase my fear, cause I got only love to share. If you're looking for truth and proof, you'll find it there.